The jungle of Threxel 7 was a living nightmare, thick with twisting vines that dripped a sap thicker than blood and crawling with unseen horrors. It hung heavy in the humid air, a place where even the light seemed reluctant to linger. Sergeant, Rena Cole adjusted her helmet visor as her boots sank slightly into the mossy undergrowth. The Terran Accord's diplomatic delegation had come here hoping for peace with the Chictar swarm, but peace was a fragile thing on a world that felt ready to swallow them whole. Rena's squad moved cautiously ahead of the diplomats, their eyes scanning every shadow, every strange rustle. The Chictar weren't just insectoid. They were the apex species of this moon. Towering figures covered in chitinous armor with eyes that glittered like obsidian gems. Their language was a clicking symphony that filled the air with uneasy tension. "Keep it tight," Rena muttered, her voice low but firm through the comms. "No sudden moves. Remember, the Queen warned us. One bite, and you're dead." Lieutenant Merrick, leading the diplomatic detail, glanced nervously at her. That warning sounded more like a threat. Rena didn't reply. She knew the truth. The Chictar's venom was infamous across the system. Even the lightest puncture would shut down nervous systems and cause excruciating death within minutes. No antidote had ever worked. The team reached a clearing where the talks were to happen. The air thrummed with alien tension as the Chictar, Queen rose, a towering figure clad in glistening black plates, her multifaceted eyes flickering with cold curiosity. "Our worlds stand on the edge of war," she clicked, voice resonating deep in their minds. "Your people trespass. Our venom will end your kind. One bite, fatal." Rena's gaze hardened. She'd heard enough. Suddenly, from the dense underbrush, a juvenile Chictar, smaller, faster, darted forward. Before anyone could react, the creature leapt onto Rena's arm, its mandibles sinking deep. A hush fell over the assembly. Pain exploded through her flesh like fire. The venom was seeping in, silent, deadly. Her teammates froze. The Queen's eyes narrowed. "See? You have..." "Minutes, human." But Rena only glanced at the bite, then shrugged. "Got bitten last week," she said with a grin that was equal parts stubborn and tired. Shock rippled through the room. Lieutenant Merrick's mouth fell open. The Queen's mandibles clicked sharply, in confusion. "What?" Merrick demanded. Rena flexed her fingers. The venom spot darkened, but she didn't feel the paralysis, didn't sense the creeping death others had warned about. Instead, a strange warmth spread from the wound, almost invigorating. The Chictar youth hissed, pulling away as if it had bitten an immortal. "Last week?" The Queen's voice was sharp. "Impossible. Your kind does not survive the venom." Rena met the Queen's gaze without fear. "Apparently some of us do." A scientist burst forward from the diplomatic team, scanning the bite wound with portable analyzers. "This is unprecedented," she muttered. "Her vitals are stable, no sign of neurotoxin activity. It's as if her cells are fighting the venom." Rena's lips curled into a defiant smirk. Or maybe it's just another day in the life of a human soldier. The tension didn't break. If anything, it thickened. The Chictar were silent, their clicks slow and cautious. The Queen's gaze lingered on Rena, weighing her like prey. "The venom is ancient. It kills all. Except perhaps you," the Queen said finally. "But this is dangerous. Your biology is unpredictable." Rena shrugged again, pulling off her helmet to reveal a patch of scarred skin where a similar bite from days ago had already healed. "Unpredictable works. The diplomats whispered feverishly, scrambling to recalibrate their strategy. The fragile peace was suddenly fragile in a way nobody expected. Rena felt eyes on her back, suspicion and awe blending in equal measure. She was no hero, just a soldier caught in something bigger than herself. But as the delegation resumed, tentative talks taking on a new edge, Rena knew one thing. The Chictar had never met a human like her before, and whatever was happening inside her veins would change everything. The sterile hum of the med lab felt worlds away from the oppressive jungle outside. Rena sat quietly on the examination table, her arms stretched out as a team of xenobiologists hovered over her bite wound with a battery of scanners and analyzers. Data streams flickered across hollow displays, showing cell activity, enzyme levels, and unknown chemical reactions. Dr. Leila Chen, lead xenobiologist, frowned, her brow furrowing, deeper with every scan. "This shouldn't be possible," she muttered more to herself than anyone else. "The venom is engineered to shut down the nervous system in under 5 minutes. Your immune response is adaptive. It's fighting the venom at a molecular level." Rena flexed her fingers, feeling no numbness, no pain, only a strange energy thrumming just beneath her skin. "I told you got bitten last week too, didn't slow me down." "Most wouldn't last an hour," Dr. Chen said, eyes wide as she reviewed the records. "You should have been dead." The room was tense. Outside, diplomatic talks had stalled. The Chictar leadership was uneasy, some outright hostile, and whispers spread through the delegation that Rena might be more than just a lucky survivor. Some called her a weapon, others a freak. "Have you experienced any other symptoms?" Chen asked carefully. Rena shook her head. "No fever, no weakness. If anything, I feel stronger, more alert." The scientists exchanged uncertain glances. This was beyond their models. "You might be what we call a reactive adaptive," Chen said, almost cautiously. "There's been speculation about such cases. Humans whose immune systems respond dynamically to threats evolving on the fly. But it's never been confirmed. You might be the first." Rena's eyes narrowed. "Evolution on the fly. Sounds like I'm turning into some kind of alien." Chen smiled faintly. "Not alien, adapted. It's a defense mechanism. Your cells aren't just fighting the venom, they're incorporating it, learning from it. It's changing you at a genetic level." Rena swallowed hard. "Changing how?" Chen tapped a few commands, pulling up a complex 3D model of her bloodstream. Tiny glowing clusters pulsed irregularly. "You're producing novel proteins, neurotoxins compatible with the Chictar venom but harmless to you. Potentially, you could use this to influence or neutralize the venom's effects in others." The implication hung heavy in the air. Rena was no longer just a victim. She might be a biological weapon. Outside the medlab window, the jungle roared and shifted, alive and waiting. Rena's thoughts drifted back to the last mission when she was bitten. The pain, the fear. But more than that, the stubborn refusal to give up. "Why me?" she whispered. Chen looked at her with something between sympathy and awe. "It's survival. The human species has always been about adapting, faster, smarter, tougher. You're the living proof." Rena's phone buzzed, jolting her from the moment. It was a message from Lieutenant Marique. "The Chictar demand to see you. They want answers." Rena sighed, pulling on her jacket. "Looks like the Queen isn't ready to accept me yet." The meeting with the Chictar was held deep within a biodome, a strange fusion of alien architecture and human technology. The Queen sat on her throne, regal and terrifying. Around her, the Council of Elders clicked softly, their eyes fixated on Rena. "You defy death," the Queen said, her voice a low vibration felt in the chest. "Your blood is no longer human. You carry the venom, and you live." Rena held her ground. "I carry it because I survived it. I'm not a threat. Unless you make me one." The Queen's eyes gleamed with something unreadable. "Your kind thinks itself the pinnacle of evolution, but you do not understand the swarm. The venom is not merely poison. It is a command, a key. You have broken the lock." Rena felt a chill. Then maybe it's time the lock was broken. A murmur rippled through the council. The Queen stared, then finally nodded. "You walk a dangerous path, human, but you walk it alive." Rena left the dome knowing the delicate balance of peace had shifted. The Chictar now saw her as an anomaly, some a threat, others a curiosity, maybe even a bridge. Back at the outpost, whispers turned to debates. Earth's political factions saw opportunity and danger in Rena's condition. Some argued for weaponizing her immunity. Others warned she was a ticking biological bomb, unpredictable and dangerous. Rena spent nights staring at her reflection, trying to recognize the woman looking back. The venom had sparked something inside her, An evolution she hadn't asked, but she was no stranger to danger. She was a soldier and she would fight whatever came next. Rena sat in the command center, the soft glow of monitors painting her face in pale blue. The room buzzed with activity, scientists analyzing data streams, military officers debating strategy. But her mind was elsewhere. Something inside her was shifting, and it wasn't just the remnants of the venom. It started small, a faint buzzing in her ears like a distant chorus of clicks and chirps. Then came the dreams, visions so vivid they felt real. She saw herself not as a lone human soldier but as part of something larger, a sprawling, pulsing hive beneath the jungle floor, millions of Chictar drones moving in perfect harmony. When she woke, sweat soaked her brow, and the strange sensation lingered. "Sergeant Cole?" Dr. Chen's voice broke through her thoughts. "We've run further tests. Your blood carries pheromonal markers native to the Chictar swarm." Rena blinked. "Pheromones? Like their language?" Chen nodded, slowly. "It seems your immune adaptation didn't just neutralize the venom, it incorporated elements of their biology. Your body is producing compounds similar to those the Chictar use for communication and control. That means I can talk to them? Without words? Possibly. At least chemically." Rena clenched her fists. "Great. Now I'm a walking alien translator." But beneath the sarcasm was a spark of something else. Power. If she could tap into the swarm's communication, she might turn the tables. The next day, Rena ventured back into the jungle with a small reconnaissance team. Her senses were sharper now, colors brighter, sounds clearer. The insects' clicks felt like a subtle symphony, the vibrations almost familiar. As they approached a Chictar outpost, Rena closed her eyes, focusing on the faint chemical signals flowing around her. The drones didn't notice the human presence, not because she was invisible, but because her pheromones masked her as part of the swarm. She signaled the team to hold back. Suddenly, a scout drone lifted from the ground, hovering before her. Instead of attacking, it circled, clicking softly. Rena's heart pounded. Tentatively, she released a small burst of pheromone from her wrist device, mimicking the scout's signal. The drone paused, then responded with a rhythmic pattern. A greeting. "Holy hell," muttered Lieutenant Merrick behind her. Rena smiled, grimly. "Looks like I'm one of them now." Back at the outpost, the revelation sparked a frenzy. Military brass saw opportunity. If Rena could influence the swarm, she could control their actions. The scientists debated ethics and risks. Rena, however, was torn. The pheromonal link came with a price. She began experiencing moments of disorientation, flashes of alien thought patterns invading her mind, unfamiliar instincts urging her toward the hive, compelling her to obey unspoken commands. At night, she dreamt of thousands of eyes watching, waiting. The swarm was alive inside her. Her commanding officer, Colonel Jarrett, confronted her. "You're becoming a weapon," he said flatly, "but we don't know what it's doing to your mind." Rena met his gaze evenly. "If I lose myself at least I'll understand our enemy. That's a hell of a lot better than dying clueless." Days later, during a security briefing, alarms blared. Sensors detected an unknown energy spike in the jungle. Rena was rushed to the field. They found a group of Chictar drones attacking a human research station. Rena's instincts flared. She stepped forward, releasing a controlled burst of pheromones. The drones halted mid-attack, confused. She focused, sending a clear signal. "Stand down." The swarm hesitated, then withdrew, leaving the station intact. The soldiers stared in disbelief. Rena realized she'd become a living bridge, a human who could command alien warriors. But not everyone trusted her. Whispers spread of the alien within, and some officers feared Rena might one day turn the swarm against humanity. That night, she found a message on her personal terminal. "Control is an illusion, the swarm will claim you, be ready." Rena stared at the words, a chill crawling down her spine. The venom hadn't just saved her life, it had rewritten it. Her body was no longer fully human, and the line between soldier and alien was disappearing fast. Rena awoke, gasping, sweat, soaking her sheets. The dream had returned, more vivid than ever. She was no longer merely an observer but part of the hive mind itself. In the dream, thousands of Chictar drones scuttled through tunnels of iridescent walls, their movements synchronized in a hypnotic dance. Their clicks echoed in her head, not as sound, but as thought. She rubbed her temples, trying to shake the sensation. Yet even in waking moments, she caught fleeting images of the hive flashing behind her eyelids, accompanied by a subtle, persistent hum. In the briefing room, Dr. Chen handed Rena a new scanner. "We've developed this to map your neurological activity. We suspect your brain is resonating at frequencies similar to the Chictar's collective consciousness." Rena frowned. "So, what, I'm tapping into their hive mind now?" Chen nodded. "It appears so. Your brain waves show patterns consistent with swarm resonance. It means you're partially linked to the collective pheromone network the Chictar use to coordinate their hive." Rena exhaled sharply. "Great. I've got alien mind-jacking to add to the resume." Over the next few days, the link grew stronger. Rena's senses expanded beyond the human norm. She could detect minute changes in the air, chemical trails of drones moving through the jungle miles away. At times, she heard clicks that weren't sounds but impulses in her mind. One afternoon, alone in the med lab, Rena closed her eyes and tried to focus on the swarm's voice inside her head. The thoughts were disjointed, a mixture of instinct, fear, and something else, curiosity. Suddenly, images flooded her mind. A vast network of tunnels, the Queen's chamber gleaming with alien light, thousands of tiny limbs building a structure with perfect coordination. It was overwhelming, and, yet, mesmerizing. When she opened her eyes, her breath was ragged. "What the hell is happening to me?" she whispered. That night, restless and unable to sleep, Rena wandered the base's observation deck. The moon hung low and strange, casting pale light over the alien jungle. She reached out with her mind, seeking the hive's faint chemical signature. For the first time, she felt noticed. A ripple ran through her thoughts, an echo of recognition. The hive was aware of her, not just as an outsider, but as something inside. The following morning, Rena reported to Colonel Jarek. "The hive is reaching out," she said, voice low. "I'm not just connected, they're trying to communicate, maybe even influence me." Jarek's eyes narrowed. "This is dangerous territory. You're risking more than your life." "I know," Rena replied. "But if I don't try to understand them, this war will never end." Jarek hesitated, then nodded. "Fine, but you're under strict observation. We can't let you lose yourself." Days turned into a blur of visions and reality slipping together. Rena's dreams grew darker. She saw herself as part of the swarm, her thoughts merging with the alien collective. She felt their ancient memories, their fears of extinction, their desperate drive to survive. At the same time, her human emotions wrestled with this alien consciousness. She feared losing control, yet a strange empathy blossomed, understanding the Chictar not as monsters but as a complex living society. Then came the incident. During a routine patrol, Rena's team was ambushed by Chictar warriors. The soldiers panicked, firing wildly. But Rena, attuned to the hive's signals, raised her hand. "Wait," she commanded. Focusing her pheromonal signals, she sent an urgent message: "Stand down." The drones hesitated, then ceased fire. Rena's team stared in disbelief. She realized, then, that her bond was more than mental. It was control. The power thrilled and terrified her. Later in the med lab, Dr. Chen examined Rena's blood under a microscope. "Your body is producing pheromones that override the swarm's aggression," she explained. "You're a living conduit for their command signals." Rena's stomach twisted. "So I'm both the enemy and the key?" Chen nodded gravely. "Yes. You are the bridge and the battleground." Rena clenched her fists. The hive inside her was growing. Soon she wouldn't be just human or alien, but something entirely new. As the sun set on Threxil 7, Rena stood at the edge of the jungle, eyes fixed on the pulsing hive beneath the ground. She was a soldier, a survivor, and now a part of something bigger than herself. The question was whether that was salvation or doom. The fragile peace between humans and Chictar shattered like glass in the heat of betrayal. Rena stood frozen as alarms screamed through the base, the acrid stench of burning circuits filling the air. The security feeds showed chaos. A rogue faction within the human command had launched a surprise bioweapon strike against the Chictar hive clusters. The weapon was based on Rena's altered blood. They had harvested her pheromone-infused, venom-resistant serum and weaponized it, turning her own evolution against the alien swarm. The attack detonated deep beneath the jungle canopy. Explosions ruptured the earth, sending toxic clouds of engineered enzymes into the hive's tunnels. Thousands of Chictar drones writhed in agony, their perfect order collapsing into frantic chaos. Rena's heart slammed. No, stop this madness. But the command center was already locked down, military leaders coldly justifying the strike as necessary for human survival. Back in the jungle, the Chictar Queen's wrath was immediate and terrifying. From the shattered tunnels rose an unholy scream, a pulse of enraged pheromones flooding the airwaves, twisting the minds of every surviving drone. Where once the swarm had moved with precision and discipline, now it surged like a wildfire of hatred. Rena felt it like a blow to her chest. The hive inside her convulsed, responding to the Queen's fury. Her mind flooded with fractured images of death and vengeance. Lieutenant, Marek found Rena as she tried to contact the hive's surviving leaders. This is war, Marek said grimly. You warned us about losing control and now look. Rena clenched her fists. They've turned me into a weapon against them, and now they're using it to destroy what I'm trying to save. The jungle echoed with the sound of thousands of insectoid legs pounding the earth, drones mobilizing not just to defend, but to hunt. The first clash was brutal. A squad of human soldiers sent to secure the perimeter was overwhelmed by the enraged swarm. Rena, using her pheromone control, tried to hold the attackers back, but the hive's rage overpowered her signals. She saw comrades fall, their faces etched with terror and disbelief. Her own team turned on her, shouting accusations of betrayal. You're the alien now, one yelled. You're one of them. In the chaos, Rena fled into the jungle depths, pursued by both humans and swarm alike. She stumbled through the undergrowth, her body struggling to keep up with the growing influence of the alien hive inside her. At times, the swarm's impulses fought her, urging her to join their vengeance. At others, her human will resisted fiercely. Her mind fractured, torn between two worlds. Deep in a hidden cave, Rena collapsed, breathless. As she lay on the cold stone, a quiet presence entered. The rogue Chictar drones who had long resented the Queen's tyranny. They surrounded her cautiously, their clicks soft and tentative. We do not wish to fight you, one said, its voice a melodic series of clicks that Rena somehow understood. Rena's exhaustion turned to wary hope. If I help you overthrow the Queen, she asked, will you help me end this war? The drones clicked in agreement. Back at the shattered base, Colonel Jarek was furious. This is a disaster, he barked into his communicator. We've lost control of the situation. Cole is compromised and the swarm is escalating. He stared at the screen, watching news feeds of firefights erupting across the planet. Send reinforcements, he ordered, and find a way to bring her back. But Rena knew she couldn't return. Not yet. The alien blood that had saved her was now a curse. She was becoming something new, something neither fully human nor fully Chictar. And if she didn't act fast, both species would be doomed. As the jungle burned and war raged around her, Rena made a silent vow. She would master the hive within her, or die trying. The jungle around Rena was a blaze of fire and fury, but inside the hidden cave, an eerie calm settled over her. The rogue Chictar drones that had surrounded her were unlike any she'd ever seen. Smaller, wiry, with eyes that shimmered with intelligence beyond the swarm's typical hive mind. They call themselves the Outcasts, the lead drone explained, in clicks and pheromones that Rena's mind translated with growing ease. We rejected the Queen's tyranny. The hive's old ways suffocate progress. We seek balance. Rena studied them warily. Balance between what? Humans and Chictar? The drone nodded. Yes. The war destroys us all. We see your gift as a chance. Together we can change the fate of our worlds. Her eyes narrowed. And if I refuse? The drone's mandibles clicked softly, a gesture of respect, not threat. Then all dies. Rena's body still bore the mark of the venom. The strange glowing patterns beneath her skin pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. She felt the hive's voice echoing constantly in her mind, a relentless tide of clicks and commands. But here, with the outcasts, she sensed something different. Free will. A flicker of hope. Show me, she said. The outcasts led her deeper, into the cave system, where the walls shimmered with bioluminescent fungi and veins of glowing minerals. At the heart of the cave lay a crystalline chamber pulsing with alien energy, their secret stronghold. They called it the Nexus. Inside the Nexus, Rena felt the hive's voice not as chaos, but as harmony. She closed her eyes and reached out with her mind. Images flooded her consciousness. Visions of the past when the Chictar were a united species, before the Queen's reign fractured the swarm into factions. She saw the slow decay of the hive's old order and the rise of the outcasts, who believed in symbiosis rather than domination. And then, a shocking truth. The venom wasn't just a weapon, it was a tool for evolution, a way to merge species, to transcend boundaries. Rena gasped. The bites, the changes, they were part of a larger plan. The weight of it pressed on her. Was she becoming the bridge between two worlds, or the harbinger of their destruction? The outcasts urged her forward. Your gift can unite us, their leader said. We must heal the rift and end this cycle of violence. Rena looked at her hands, glowing faintly with alien energy. I don't know if I'm ready, but you are the only one who can, the drone replied. Back on the surface, the war raged. The Queen had unleashed her full fury, sending massive swarms to crush the human forces. Colonel Jarek's reinforcements were overwhelmed. Call in air support, he shouted. We cannot hold this line. But even the firepower was insufficient. The Chictar swarm moved with terrifying coordination and speed. As the battlefield burned, Rena emerged from the Nexus. Transformed. Her eyes gleamed with alien light, and her voice carried the weight of two species. I bring an end to this war, she declared. The outcasts gathered behind her, a formidable force ready to challenge the Queen's reign. Rena reached out mentally, sending waves of calm through the battlefield. The swarm hesitated, confusion flickering in their movements. The Queen herself appeared massive and fearsome. You defy me, human? She demanded, clicking fiercely. Rena met her gaze, unwavering. I am no longer just human, Rena said. And you are not invincible, the Queen hissed, lunging forward. But Rena was ready. With a surge of pheromonal power, she unleashed a wave of command that rippled through the swarm. The drones halted. The Queen faltered. For the first time, her dominance was questioned. A tense silence fell. Rena spoke again, her voice both human and alien. Join me. End this war. Build a future where both species survive. The Queen hesitated, then slowly lowered her mandibles. It was a fragile peace, but a beginning. As the fires died down, Rena stood between two worlds, her transformation complete. She was no longer just a soldier, she was the future. The smoke from the battlefield still curled into the sky, but the war had reached an uneasy halt. Rena stood atop a ridge overlooking the shattered jungle below, flanked by her outcast allies and a contingent of human soldiers. The silence was deafening after weeks of relentless fighting. The Queen's massive form loomed nearby, her eyes filled with cautious respect, and something else, a grudging acknowledgement. For the first time, the ancient Chictar ruler was faced with a human who not only survived her venom but commanded her swarm. This peace, Rena began, her voice carrying both the weight of her humanity and the alien cadence of the hive. We'll hold only if we build it together. If either side betrays it, this planet will burn. The Queen clicked softly in agreement. We have much to rebuild. The swarm is fractured, but your presence may unify us. Back at the human outpost, the mood was less optimistic. Colonel Jarek paced in his command center, his jaw tight. Peace with the Chictar? He scoffed during a meeting with Earth's political representatives. After they butchered half our forces, you expect us to trust a human with alien blood commanding their enemy? A civilian diplomat sighed. Jarek, Rena is a symbol of possibility. The war isn't just fought with weapons anymore. It's fought with understanding. Jarek slammed, his fist on the table. I won't gamble our lives on some alien hybrid's diplomacy. Rena's newfound role placed her in the center of a precarious political web. She found herself shuttled between the Queen's palace and human council chambers, acting as ambassador, soldier, and translator. Every negotiation was fraught with suspicion. At the same time, whispers of dissent grew on both sides. Some human factions branded Rena a traitor, a Chictar spy. Others within the hive resented her influence, viewing her as a dangerous aberration. One evening, Rena sat with Dr. Chen, reviewing the latest scans of her physiology. You're stabilizing, Chen said, eyes wide with amazement. Your body has fully integrated the pheromonal DNA. The transformation is permanent. Rena touched the faint glowing pattern on her wrist. I'm not sure if I'm stronger or lost. Chen's gaze was gentle. You're both. It's the next step. In human evolution, adaptation beyond our planet. Rena gave a bitter smile. Next step, huh? Feels more like a leap into the unknown. That night, Rena's mind buzzed with conflicting thoughts. The hive inside her pulsed with memories and instincts, urging her toward unity with the Chictar. Yet her human heart ached for the friends she'd lost, the trust she'd shattered, and the uncertain future. A message blinked on her comlink. Meet at the old landing zone. Urgent. She recognized the signature. Lieutenant Merrick. At the deserted landing site, Merrick awaited, his face grim. We've uncovered something, he said, pulling up encrypted files on a portable screen. The data revealed covert operations. Human. Factions planning to sabotage the peace by assassinating the Queen and framing Rena. They want to reignite the war, Merrick explained, to control the planet through fear. Rena's blood ran cold. If they succeed, she whispered, there will be no hope left. The revelation forced Rena into a dangerous gamble. She had to act swiftly to expose the conspirators or watch everything she'd fought for crumble. With the outcasts' help, she planned a covert operation to intercept the assassination attempt and protect the Queen. The night of the mission, the jungle was alive with shadows and whispered threats. Rena moved with purpose, no longer just a human soldier, but a bridge between two worlds. As dawn broke, Rena's team intercepted the saboteurs just meters from the Queen's chamber. A fierce firefight erupted, the line between friend and foe blurring. In the chaos, Rena faced one of the conspirators, an old military commander who spat, "You don't belong to either side, Cole. You belong to the hive now." Rena leveled her weapon. "I belong to whoever fights for the future." The mission succeeded, but the cost was high. Trust had been shattered, and the fragile alliance teetered on the edge of collapse. Rena stood once more before the Queen, weary but resolute. "We will fight not just for survival," she said, "but for a future where humans and Chictar can coexist." The Queen nodded solemnly. "Then let the rebuilding begin." The war had not ended, not yet, but a new chapter had begun, and Rena was its reluctant herald. The sun rose slowly over the scarred world of Threxil 7, casting long shadows across a landscape still raw from battle but no longer broken by war. The fires that had once consumed the jungle now smoldered in the distance, a fading reminder of the past. Rena stood at the forefront of a gathering unlike any the planet had ever seen. Humans and Chictar representatives mingled in cautious truce, their differences vast but their goals aligned: survival, peace, and a future built on understanding. The queen herself was present, a towering figure with mandibles gently clicking, in rhythms of quiet approval. Beside her, Rena felt the full weight of what she had become, the living bridge between two species, two worlds, two destinies. The past months had been a crucible of pain and transformation. Rena's venom-altered body had evolved beyond her own understanding, granting her a power few could wield without losing themselves. But she had resisted the hive's pull, not with brute force but with empathy. She had chosen to embrace both her humanity and her alien gift, forging a new path where others saw only division. Colonel Jarek approached, his expression unreadable. "Wasn't sure this would work," he admitted quietly. "But you proved me wrong. Maybe there's hope after all." Rena nodded. "Hope isn't a guarantee. It's a choice we make every day." He extended his hand, a silent gesture of respect. She clasped it firmly. Across the clearing, children, human and Chictar larvae alike, played together under watchful eyes, their laughter a fragile melody rising above the scars of war. Scientists busily worked to heal the land, while diplomats negotiated treaties that once would have seemed impossible. Rena's thoughts drifted to the outcasts, the rogue faction that had dared to dream of peace before the war had torn everything apart. They had shown her the true meaning of balance, the need to break free from old cycles of violence and fear. Suddenly a ripple passed through the crowd, a subtle change in the air. Rena's senses sharpened, and she recognized the faint chemical signature of the hive, not from the queen, but from the vast network of Chictar spread beneath the planet's surface. The hive was alive, adapting, but now it pulsed in harmony. With her own heartbeat, she stepped forward and raised her voice, not as a soldier, not as an ambassador, but as a symbol. "Today marks more than a truce," she said. "It marks the beginning of a new chapter, one where humanity's resilience and the Chictar's unity combine to create something stronger than either alone." The queen clicked softly in agreement, and the crowd erupted in cautious applause. Later, Rena stood alone at the edge of the jungle, the alien patterns on her skin glowing softly beneath her sleeves. The bite that was once thought fatal had become her salvation. She smiled, a simple, human smile. The future was uncertain, but for the first time it felt within reach. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Rena whispered to the night, "Got bitten last week, but I'm still standing." The jungle answered with a chorus of clicks and hums, a promise that neither species would face the future alone. The war was over, but the story was just beginning. The end.